guys, welcome to another Dream Connections webinar tonight. I have something absolutely incredible for you guys. Now, as we talked about in the email that we sent out earlier today, it's very common for us to do a mid-tour recap, trip report webinar as we call them, and honestly, they're one of our most popular webinars that we ever do. Usually when we do these webinars, we're showing pictures of the ladies, that were at the meet and greet events, and if some of the guys are willing to, brave 4 a.m., and figure out what the world looks like at 4 a.m., they will come and join us on the webinar live, and we get to, talk with them and see what their thoughts are on dating ladies overseas and things like that. Now, that's for our group tours. Well, we don't have a group tour going on right now. So you're asking, Chris, what are you talking about? Why are we discussing this? We actually have several individual quest tours going on right now. And oftentimes the guys who are going on an individual quest tour are a little more private. That's part of the benefit of going on the individual tours. It is a private tour. It's just you, your romance coach, and the ladies. And more often than not, they're not really up to doing, the video stuff and things like that. And we totally respect that. But tonight I have something incredibly special for you. I have two men of action here tonight who have volunteered to not only do the webinar with us, but get up at 4 a.m. in Ukraine. And so I'd like to go ahead and introduce Dan and Randy. Guys, you can go ahead and join me here on camera. And I'm really looking forward to just having a discussion with you guys. It's going to be great.
Good day, everybody.
Hey, guys. Dan, Randy, how you guys doing tonight?
Excellent.
Super.
And what drew you to the the individual quest tour program? Dan, I'll go ahead and start with you. Give us your thoughts. Why did you decide to do an individual tour as opposed to a group tour?
Yeah, IQT on sale last year, and I was already had my trip paid for the regular group tour, and I had timing issues with work for the last year and a half since it wouldn't allow me to get here. So the IQT was nice because I could schedule in between group tours.
Absolutely. No, that's one of the big benefits of the individual tour is the flexibility. And the fact that you were able to get in on that Black Friday sale that we did, or the birthday sale, whichever one it was that you jumped in on, that's definitely Black Friday. Okay, there you go. So Dan has been waiting since last Thanksgiving to do this. He's been ready to go. That's patience right there, guys. That's real patience. And so Randy, let me toss to you now. Obviously, you're an alumni. You've been, on the group tour before. You're coming back on an IQT now, and I have to say that you are truly a man of the tribe. And Dan, I know you're in Total Man Club too, but Randy's there. He's been part of Tribe Talk, and you were in the Quest Mastermind as well, weren't you?
I was. Part of it. I caught part of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so you've been around for quite some time. So tell me, why did you decide on your second go around to do an IQT?
Well, this time was because the COVID. I was originally signed up for a group tour mid-summer, but of course COVID affected everybody's travel plans. So then when it was announced that there would be the virtual Quest tour, jumped on that right away, and then all of a sudden everything opened up. So changed from the virtual quest tour to the individual quest tour, and I have to say it's an amazing experience. Comparing, and to compare the group tour with the individual quest tour so far, both are amazing experiences.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
That's great to hear. And I have to tell you guys, you are not alone. Okay. I think pretty much everybody, the minute that Ukraine opened up the borders, they're like, okay, I'm coming, and I'm coming right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you gotta strike while the iron's hot, and you have to seize the moment. And I think that that's definitely what both of you guys have done here, is really just taking the initiative and just went for it.
And some of the ladies that I was initially eyeing up before this tour, really interested in meeting them. But of course, if you wait too long, they're gone. But there's other ladies here for you to meet. So you're never at any risk of not meeting the right one.
Absolutely. So, that's one thing that I think a lot of people worry about is, they get, fixated on one lady or a couple ladies, and then, maybe she finds somebody and they get devastated. So, it's the beautiful part of the system is abundance. You have options, which is what you don't necessarily have back home.
Oh, and it's so different than, at least for me in the United States, it's so different. And Dan and I are actually neighbors. He's in the Chicago area, I'm in the Milwaukee area.
Oh,
So
nice.
we're actually,
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. So Randy, you kind of opened the can of worms there. So let's go ahead and jump into that. Let's talk about your experiences, back, in the United States, in the West, compared to dating there in Ukraine. What have been the major differences that you've seen and experienced so far? Randy, since you're the veteran, I'll let you start. Dan, collect your thoughts, and I'll come back to you next.
well, to me, I've had the opportunity to date a lot of women in the United States as well, but not the same type of cultural or family values that I've been running into. And I'm sure there's plenty there, but
Of course.
meeting them is probably the bigger challenge. So I've tried online dating. I've tried, I'm guilty of falling in love with photos of beautiful Russian and Ukrainian ladies.
Hmm.
And when I finally found, and I don't remember exactly how, I think it was just stumbling across the web, Dream Connections. After participating and watching some of the videos, I knew it was the right goal for me to participate in.
Awesome. That's awesome. Thanks, Randy. So, Dan, comparing the ladies in the West to the ladies in Ukraine, what have you been seeing as the major differences so far?
So I kind of second what Randy's saying. There are some talented, beautiful people in the U.S., but for me, um, after the first 2 days, on Friday and Saturday when I got here, just being able to sit down and kind of review, the dates and the chats and getting to know them. I told my translator, I told Inga that it would take me literally, 9 to 12 months to accomplish the same thing. And,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the quality of women is just so unbelievably high. And not one of them is there, for some sort of other reason. They really want to meet you. They will agree. Some will not agree to meet you. They're not. There's either not a match or they don't want to come. The ones that are there to meet you and they are serious about it. And there's a couple that I've met that just kind of take your breath away when you see them walk into the room. So not that couldn't happen elsewhere, but here it's been just literally breathtaking.
Yeah, the guys sitting out on the porch getting whiplash, looking at all the ladies walking past on Soviet sky. It's a chiropractor could make a lot of money there in Ukraine. So
True.
no, that's awesome. So I want to hit a little bit on the individual tour because some guys might not be familiar with it. So obviously with the group tour, you go to the meet and greet events and things like that. And so the individual quest tour is a little bit different. So Dan, why don't you go ahead and start on this one? Tell us what kind of the lead up to the individual tour was like. Working with Inga, ahead of time, over Skype and things like that. Tell us kind of that experience and what it was like for you.
So I knew I had an extended period of time because the job that I was with at the time required a year in closing. So I knew I was going to be out 8 or 9 months. So I started taking Russian lessons,
Oh, wow.
and I took 8 months of those or so. So Inga and I became good friends on Zoom and Skype meetings via Russian lessons, and we also half those lessons turned into chats and questions I had about what it would be like, what I need to do, what some of my weaknesses are, those sort of things. So I had time to prepare, in that regard, and getting here and meeting Inga and being able to hit the ground running was phenomenal. So I think that's probably one of the striking differences, for me, was I was able to have a pretty good rapport with my romance coach prior to even, landing.
Absolutely. And, that's one of the real benefits, obviously, with the individual tour is, not only do you get to, kind of pre-select the ladies that you get to meet and, kind of work that out, but you really get to build that relationship with your romance coach ahead of time. And so now, Randy, obviously, you're probably with my personal favorite romance coach because she's the reason that I'm married today. So tell me, what was it like working with Julia, ahead of time, kind of picking ladies? What was that process like?
Well, it was absolutely fantastic. I too wound up with Julia taking the Russian lessons. But
Ah,
when we were taking the Russian language lessons, I'd start getting more into, hey, how do I do this for the Dream Connections tour? What do you suggest about this? So sometimes we do the Russian lessons, and sometimes we just talk about dating Slavic women. So during that time, of course, developed very, very wonderful relationship with Julia. The original romance coach that I was with moved to a different country. So I think that would have been a good match as far as a romance coach. But with Julia, she has so much experience and so much wisdom to add that, and I know she's had an amazing track record. So for me, she dug very deep into what I was looking for. And she was not afraid to tell me some criticism about how I might be approaching something. So
Mhm.
taking all that into consideration, it's just an incredible experience coming to Mykolaiv and meeting her and seeing Irina again, and it's just phenomenal. I can't even words can't even convey how exciting this is.
No, it's awesome, guys, and that's the thing that we want to make sure that you have is you have that good experience. Not only with your romance coach, but with dating the ladies as well. And so let's talk about dating the ladies a little bit. What kind of stuff have you guys been doing? Has it mostly been like coffee dates so far? Or have you started doing the cool stuff yet, or like what have you been up to? So Randy, go ahead and give us some ideas on some of the stuff you've been doing so far.
Okay, well, I landed relatively late, but already the next day, which was Sunday, dates were already set up. So we had dates set up for lunch, we had dates set up for afternoon, we had dates set up for dinner. And it was just like started immediately. So initial dates started out, a little bit more low key, just, relaxed. But it wasn't very long after that one of the ladies just brought an amazing chemistry to the table that we both shared, and been spending a lot of time with her. Um, there's just there's so many beautiful ladies and so warm and intelligent that you really can't go wrong. There's somebody here for everybody. I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
Absolutely. And, I kind of prefaced in the email that I've interviewed a lot of guys on Tribe Talk before. And I had one early on that I was like, oh my gosh, how in the world is this guy going to find somebody? He was, he worked for the power company, setting up power lines across the United States. He was living out of a trailer, loved driving his Harley around. And the dude, like, let's say he hit the cigarettes pretty hard. I'm like, okay, this is going to be a tough sell. Dude found a lady who was absolutely into that, couldn't wait to go traveling around the United States with her and her son and things like that. And she absolutely loved motorcycles. So I have to echo your sentiment there, Randy. There is 100% somebody for everybody there. I can promise you that.
Yes, absolutely.
So Dan, tell us a little bit about your dating experience. What have you been up to? Have you done anything really cool yet? Have you gone some cool places? Like what's been going on?
Yeah. So, as of last night, we were up late in Kherson and on a third date with a very talented, attractive lady, and we were doing some of the fun stuff, go karts and air hockey and pool and stuff. So we were running around having a good time.
Nice.
And most of the dates for me, I still have first dates today.
Mm-hmm.
So and maybe even tomorrow. So my experience has been a little bit different. In some ways that I'm not as zeroed in on one particular lady at this point. I have multiple options, at least 3 or 4, and some from even out of town. We get ladies dialing in from outside of outside of Mykolaiv area, and some virtual dates as well. So my challenge is going to be with the dates is going to be figuring out how to narrow down a choice. So which is right. We joke about that, but that's really the case for me. So I'm kind of I will have some hoops to jump through the next few days. I was with them on a first date with somebody the other day, and we were coming up the stairs to this area, and we were coming back down. I looked over in the room, and I saw Randy and his date and Julia. I didn't say anything, and if Randy would have been in a more less isolated room, I'd have been lobbing spitwads at him and throwing stuff over the top. But my romance just grabbed me to, get down the stairs. Okay, fine, we'll leave him alone for tonight. So all kinds of really good restaurants. I mean, I had borscht for the first time. I had some downtime also, and it wasn't really a date, but some downtime with Inga talking about him. And so we got to go to the Mafia Hookah Bar and enjoy, a nice evening there, and being able to chat a little bit and actually call. I actually had one of the virtual dates actually call me in Mafia, so we got to chat with her a little bit. So just a wide variety of them, and there's more to come.
No, that's awesome. And, it's one of the things that, some guys kind of get worried about is like, oh my gosh, I haven't started zeroing in on one yet. And there's so many choices and I just can't pick. And the truth is, the more you date and the more, you see these ladies, the sooner one or two is really going to rise to the top as being kind of your top picks. Guys fret and, freak out about this. It's like, oh my gosh, so-and-so found his lady and I'm still, just doing first dates. There's nothing wrong with that. As we like to say on the group tour, it's not Friday yet. And it definitely, for both of you, is not Friday yet. Metaphorically in this case, because I don't think either of you are leaving on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. But it's one of those things that, it's a process. It's something that takes time. You have to go through and, really kind of meet all the ladies and see who you really click with. And that takes time. And it's not something you can do. And, lightning doesn't always strike the first time. I can, say from my personal experience, the first date I went on, amazing lady, but just the chemistry wasn't there. And so, it is something that you kind of have to work through.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and to add to that, the ladies, all of the ladies that I've met so far on the individual quest tour this time, for me, it was a little bit easier because I went through the group tour as well. And what was very nice for me about the group tour was that you build stronger camaraderie. I'm still friends with some of the people that I met back on that tour.
Mm-hmm.
And meeting Dan here, you support each other a little bit. You talk about how things are going, that type of thing. And it's not a competition. It's being a part of something that's just huge. If you're open to the opportunity of meeting somebody, to me, it seems like it doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter how much or how you look. Of course, you want to present yourself professionally and properly, but these ladies are here to meet their husband, and they are very, very direct about that. They're not trying to play games or hide anything. They want to know about you when they're on the date with you, and they want you to know about them as well. So the coach will always help you if you run out of questions or if you don't understand quite what they're asking. The romance coach is absolutely huge in helping you navigate that area of, at least for me, what might be a little bit of confusion as far as how to respond.
Absolutely. And Randy, you kind of touched on something there that I wanted to, ask you specifically, since this is your second time back. How has this experience differed from the first one?
Oh, that's an excellent question. To me, this one I really like because the group tour for me was such a whirlwind that I can honestly say by the end of the Saturday and the Sunday, I couldn't really remember who I was talking to, or you know what I mean. So even at that point, the romance coach is taking notes, so she can help refresh your memory about who seemed like you had some chemistry with. But on the individual tour, it's more relaxed. I mean, there's a lot of women to meet, of course, but it's not as high pressure. I don't know if pressure is the right word, but not as fast paced as the group tour. Because the group tour, it's like bam, 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 bam. And on this individual quest tour, It's like, okay, this is who we're meeting. Then there's some space between that, so you can kind of go over how that date went, and then on to the next date.
Absolutely. No, thank you for sharing that. Now you mentioned obviously, you had your dates set up ahead of time. And so I wanted to ask, what were kind of the criteria that you were using to select the ladies? And, how did your romance coach kind of help you in that process? So Dan, I want you to go ahead and tackle that one.
Yeah, sure. So, for me, the profiles are fine, and you have to go through them and make some initial selection. And I stopped looking at numbers and stat, just information on the individual ladies, and I just looked at them and just said, "Is this somebody that I would actually meet? Somebody I would resonate with? Somebody that looks like that they would not just like me, but want to talk and and get to know?" So I did that, and even Inga said, when we got down to the final selection a couple days prior to to being there, she said, just total honesty, total transparency. Just give me everybody. I don't care what the number is by their name. I don't care what their location is. Let's just talk about them. So you pick those set, and then Inga and Irina come in with, "Oh, she'd be good for you. She'd be good for you. She'd be good for you." And there's still, I still at the end of the day, I still have people like Irina's going, "Oh yeah, that's right, so and so." So there is a bunch of them. My criteria was I just want to meet them, and sure enough, regardless of location or age or anything else, they've all been exceptional. They've all been people that I wanted to, that I agree would be good for me, and I wanted to meet them. So. Not a lot of pretense, prior to the selecting, other than just, is there somebody I really want to meet? And Randy said it as well, that the quality that they're, the kind of the intensity that you hit the ground running. I mean, the very first date, was already incredible. So. Yeah, I didn't have to worry a lot about that. The ladies I'm meeting are ready to be there, and that exceeded my expectation. Every single one of them has been fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Randy, how was the selection process for you? Did you have like something specific you were looking for, or did you kind of let Julia guide you in that? How did that process work for you?
Well, okay, so reviewing the profiles, there were some ladies that I really truly wanted to meet, but they had already been dating somebody on a more serious level, so they were no longer available. But what I think Irina and Julia did is they for the ladies that were still available or available to date, I would pick some, and then they would kind of say, okay, I'm going to pick some for you as well. So based on the relationship that I have with Julia and Irina, knowing, kind of who I am, they helped guide me with setting up certain dates and allowing me to pick dates as well. And there has not been one single date that was a train wreck. They were all amazing.
And
Absolutely.
it doesn't help if you I brought some Chicago chocolates and some popcorn for Irina and the staff and my romance coach, which they all like. It doesn't help if you show up with some kind words for the Ukrainian live presenters and for Irina and the staff. So
Good point. Good point.
Absolutely. And I think that, that kind of hits on, a big issue here, that the major difference between, an individual tour and a group tour, not to say that we don't do a lot of work for a group tour. Trust me, we do. Just talk to Arena about the November Quest tour, both of you, and you can see how much work she's doing. But we do a lot of this ahead of time, right? So it's like we do the work ahead of time where, we spend the time getting to know you more as a person, what qualities in the lady that you're looking for, what you're attracted to, so that we can match you with ladies that will, match your personality, your lifestyle, or, your life goals and things like that. And, just have all those amazing dates so you can just kind of you follow the chemistry really.
Absolutely.
yep.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
Awesome. And so, Dan, you said something earlier that I wanted to touch on here as well, and that's the fact that we have kind of expanded operations into a more digital format when it's necessary. And so you had said that you had dated a couple ladies over, from different countries. What's that been like? Obviously, she's not there in front of you in Nikolaev at this moment. What's it like been doing kind of almost a hybrid tour a little bit with a little bit of digital involved in there?
It's really good. The one lady was there 2 days before I got there, and she ended up having to go to Prague for her work.
Gotcha.
And it was just a real close miss, but it's been really good. As a matter of fact, the response to me has been just as sincere, on the virtual side, because of location. She felt bad and wanted to get there, so you end up having to explore, additional information on additional, Skype calls or, Viber, whatever you're using to communicate. And then some of the other ladies are just at more remote locations inside Ukraine, Kiev and Kharkiv and other locations. And it's just a great way to reach out and say hello. And those virtual meetings were well done, and I liked them.
No, it's awesome. Awesome. Randy, have you had to do any, over the net meetings, or has everybody been there in Nikolaev for you?
Only one over the net. A lady from northeastern Ukraine. She was on a virtual meet, and it was lovely. For me though, the in-person part of it for me, and I don't know if I'm just old school or what, but meeting somebody in person, you get a different sense. And again, that's not for everybody. Just speaking for myself, the online, the Viber call was nice, but knowing that you're going to be meeting a woman in person, it's an incredible experience.
Randy, it's not old school. You're just old, buddy.
Yeah, I agree.
I can hear Randy talking down the hallway, so he'll come down and throw something at me any moment now.
You guys are great. I love this. No, it's great. But I agree with both of you. You can definitely make a connection, digitally if necessary. But obviously, the creme de la creme is meeting in person, meeting face to face, to say the least.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
No, that's great. That's great. So, you guys have been dating for a little bit so far. Tell me about, the interactions with your romance coach a little bit more. What types of things has she been doing on your dates to kind of help you out, to, give you little pointers, things like that? What has she been doing to kind of help increase your game a little bit? So Randy, why don't you start on that one?
Well, first, all the legwork that goes behind setting up the dates. Matching you with the ladies and getting all that put together is incredible. And then from a pointer standpoint, there's like a little bit of a review before the date, and then the date, of course, and then during the date, she's guiding you if, like I said earlier, if you're a little bit confused about something that the woman is asking, or if the woman is a little bit confused by what you're saying. So the romance coach, Julia, she's guiding me and keeping me on course. So if there's like a little bit of a lag, because sometimes I'm thinking about something that the lady said, and it's not really that important, but I'm thinking about it because I want to answer, well, honestly, first of all, and then also in a manner that doesn't sound too silly, or too aggressive maybe. And so Julie has been helping guide me, keeping me on course, on point. And after the date, it's follow up, how it went, what she thinks, that whole wrap up on the date, and it's just absolutely incredible. So good two-way conversation with the romance coach.
Absolutely, guys. I think the post-game debriefing is probably one of the best aspects of having the romance coach there. Now, of course, she's doing a lot of work on the date and before the date, as you mentioned, Randy. But I think getting that feedback and honest feedback. I think we can both agree that they're not going to, sugarcoat it for you. They'll tell you the way it is. And, getting that type of feedback is just invaluable.
Yes. One of the comments my romance coach made was during one of the dates, she said she had to look down at her tea because we were behaving like teenagers.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So Dan, how has Inga kind of been guiding you through the dates? Has she given you any pointers or things like that, or what's she been doing for you so far?
Yeah. So for me, the advanced preparation is really good and everything, but timing in the trenches during the date and even after the date to figure out my personal style and timing based on the women I'm meeting, can only happen while you're sitting there. You can't pre-stage that. So for me, this is still playing out as we speak for the rest of this week. Is being able to figure out how to proceed. And how to communicate during the day. We even had that it came up last night on the third day with the gal I was with, and you can't really practice that. She has to understand your body language and how you're responding. And she's got the date, sitting there, and she's got to figure that out kind of on the fly. And Dan, don't you have to go to the restroom? Means you better go up and spend 5 minutes away someplace and not come right back, and which I do. So I'll usually be at the bar at the restaurant, sitting there and sipping on something and giving her plenty of time to respond. So we have to talk about at the end of the day. So I think it's been really good. We knew each other pretty well, but getting down to the nitty gritty is really important, and she's really good about that. She likes to be there in person and watch the body language of the girl and myself. And she gives invaluable feedback. I tell you, one of the highlights has been one of those post-date chats, and Nuka Bar at Mafia was just incredible. It was a really delightful experience.
Yeah,
No.
if I may add to that before I forget this train of thought, because I think it's important for the guys everywhere. You're talking in your language to the romance coach, and it's getting translated to the lady. And there have been times where my romance coach Julie would say, "Randy, say that, but look into her eyes when you're saying that." And she's translating it as the lady's looking into my eyes, I'm looking into her eyes, and there's that very special connection when the romance coach guides you to that, because she sees something that I don't necessarily see. I might be thinking it, but for the woman to appreciate the level of interest, she helped guide me in that direction as well, and that's something that I would not have recognized on my own.
Absolutely. And I think this is one of the really interesting parts of working with a, romance coach, a translator in this fashion is, since there's a delay from the time you say something to the time she receives it, it allows you to be present in the moment and see her reaction when she receives that information, see the look in her eyes, her body language, and things like that. And it literally forces you to slow down. And I think that's the big thing, because, us as, guys from the West, sometimes we're not the best listeners. We hear what they're saying, but we're in the back of our head thinking, okay, they've said this. Now I need to come up with a response to that. And then we miss the second half of whatever they said.
Absolutely.
Yep, totally.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, but what it really does, it forces you to slow down, be present in that moment. And I think that's one of the reasons why, speaking through a translator or a romance coach in this case can be so beneficial, because it allows you to be present in that moment. And, you can see how she responds to your message. She gets to see how you respond to it being translated to you, and it creates a bit of a deeper connection.
Absolutely. Some of these ladies have very good English skills. And even in those situations, when I was on the virtual date, her English skills were very good, and there was only interaction from my romance coach when she wanted to guide me a little bit closer to a particular objective.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that can definitely be the case. Even though she may not be translating a lot, she may just, kind of nudge you in that direction you need to go, so that you kind of get there on your own speed. And so it's a beautiful, beautiful way for things to transpire. So, all right, well, cool. Obviously, Dan, you said you're still working on first dates so far. That's totally cool. You still got plenty of time left. Have there been, one or two that have really kind of stood out to you? And of course, we're still under the bro code here, so no names. But have you had a couple ladies that stand out, and what did they do that made them different from the rest?
Yeah, for sure. Uh, One or two, more like 3 or 4. Maybe by the end of today, it'll be different. But genuine interest. I try not to come with too many preconceived notions about what it's going to happen or not happen. But their interest, so you have to kind of sit across from your romance coach as she takes a picture or stand or do something. And a couple of times, but I've been physically pulled into a very tight, selfie shot that's been really nice. I wouldn't have initiated that myself, but it was kind of done their deal. So just little nuanced things like that have been fun. And then, these are all really intelligent, attractive women. One of the gals, very intelligent, and we were in the back seat on the way to an event. And she leaned over to me, and Inga didn't even know. She leaned over to me and said, "I'm actually been a trained, linguist, and and I can speak English fluently, but Inga does not know that." And sure enough, she didn't. And I was like, "Well, it just made my date a lot easier." I was able to, converse fluently, and she's very intelligent, and even on professional work things that I'm familiar with based on her job, and things like that just kind of take you by surprise because it's not, it's not. You can't really anticipate that, but boy, when it happens, it really is nice, and it just opens up all of these options you think about as a person. How she's going to fit with you and your life, and regardless if she has children or her job, they all seem to be, really interested, in how you're doing, and I don't know, I guess the ones that stand out more express more of an interest, kind of what Mark was saying. They kind of maybe meet you halfway more. And I'm starting to discover that more realistically, especially as we go to, I'm headed to the zoo today and someplace else. And it'll be more of an opportunity to kind of continue to explore some of those connections more deeply.
And to kind of touch on that as well, on a second date, one of the ladies and I and our romance coach went to a chocolate making class, and it was a second date, so we're getting a little bit comfortable with each other, a little bit more friendly, and there was a little bit of chocolate on her mouth, and I just kind of leaned over and kissed it and said, "There's a little chocolate on your mouth," and kissed her, and just yeah, you just you get into that particular moment, you get into that particular I don't know if synchronization is the right word, but you just know. You just know. The romance coach is not going to let you do something completely stupid. She,
I don't know.
she sees you're going down the wrong path. She'll kind of get you back pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But the chemistry will speak for itself. The chemistry will answer in an amazing way. It's just going to happen. And again, it's not what you look like. It's not. You don't have to be a bodybuilder. You don't have to be a multimillionaire. You just have to be yourself and trust the Dream Connections process, because it works.
Absolutely. And Randy, I got to say, that was a slick move. That was smooth.
That was, yeah.
I'm going to have to use that at some point. So I want to save plenty of time for question and answer, because we got a lot of guys here on the live call. So if you are catching this on YouTube, guys, please make sure you join our live webinar so you can participate in this Q&A that we have. But I want to go ahead and close. And, if you were, you're obviously sitting there, you're in Nikolaev, Ukraine right now. And, there are guys here in the chat or who are going to be watching this in the future who maybe are on the fence on whether they should go or not. What would you say to that guy if he was sitting across from you right now? Dan, go ahead and start, and then Randy will finish with you.
Yeah, sure. I've replayed this event numerous times with other guys in their journey, and I'm sitting here now doing the same thing myself. For me, even this last year, I had an opportunity, even with COVID and a job change and other things, to maybe put it off. And this sounds a bit of a cliche, but you really have to be here in person. And like Randy just said, they just are not caught up in, physical aspects, and there doesn't need to be chemistry, but or your job or what you do. They generally want to meet you. So, you need to show up, you need to be here at some point. And it really is rewarding. And there's so many aspects of this that only kind of come to light once you're here, walking around and doing these different dates and meeting these people. And you just have to show up and go. It's so worth it from every aspect. I mean, all the other side benefits, are great in terms of, food and culture and the people. But just being there and sharing that is just so phenomenal. I mean, I can't even really describe it. It doesn't do it justice. And, I don't know. You just need to show up and come. And I know we've heard that over and over again, but it's true.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, and, to plagiarize from Nike, just do it. Just do it. And if there's truly a lady here for everybody, absolutely no question at all. You just got to show up. You have to show up, and you won't be disappointed.
It's great, and I'm so thankful to both of you who are willing to, again, take the time out of your sleep time. I hope that you will get a little bit of extra rest later today to catch up. But thank you both so much for being here tonight, for the guys, and for all the guys. We'll do Q&A here in just a minute. But thank you again so much for being part of this, being part of the tribe, putting your trust in us, and we're going to do everything we can to help you guys succeed.
Pleasure.
My pleasure.
Yep.
Awesome. So guys, if you're sitting on the fence and you're not there, it's time to do it, guys. Like Randy said, just do it. I can promise you, you're not going to be disappointed.